A Japanese upper-middle-class family. Parents were bankers and all that jazz. Very straight. They were trying to get her off with an ambassador when she was about 18. You know, now's the time. Yeah. I come from a upper working-class family in Liverpool, the other end of the world. We met, but our minds were so similar. Our ideas were so similar. It was incredible that we could be so alike from different environments.
John Lennon that Yoko met in 1966 was a pop king, but he sat uneasily on his throne.
Well, it's been lots of fun.
Lennon, with his restless energy and seditious humor, was determined to branch out. And in Yoko Ono, he found a source of inspiration, someone who did things even John Lennon had not dared. Both were married at the time. They simmered as friends for 2 years. The romance officially began when he invited her over to make some experimental music and this far-out film, which would show the world just what kindred spirits they really were.
We saw each other's loneliness. The degree and the measure of pain seemed to be very similar. And we just immediately sort of tuned into each other because of that, probably, you know?
Lennon's childhood, like Yoko's, was shaped by loneliness. Abandoned by both his father and mother at an early age, John was raised by his Aunt Mimi. His mother, Julia, later re-entered his life, but died soon after in a car crash.
The degree of insecurity in John was tremendous. And then we met, and we found out the depth of loneliness we had, you know, because both of us were sort of living in a different time from other people. And it was like sort of holding hands and saying, oh, I'm so glad we met, you know. Yes, yes, I mean, I was going through the same thing. Isn't that terrible? And nobody understands us, you know. It was like that. So together, we were misunderstood. This time it was together, though, you know.
Lennon would say that Yoko simply gave him the freedom to be himself. She awoke in him the stirrings of the artist he had once wanted to be in Liverpool, and encouraged him to give a show of his own works at a London gallery in 1968. Dedicated to Yoko, the exhibit displayed the whimsical side of his nature and marked the beginning of a long artistic collaboration. In 1971, they made a film called Imagine. The title came from one of Yoko's poems. Imagine was an innovative forerunner of today's rock music videos.
Wake up in the morning, my hand cold in fear. Midsummer New York, my heart shakes in terror. My heart, my hands, my legs, my...
Imagine was part promo film, part portrait, and part parody of their own legend. Their albums intended to provoke thought, but often perplexed the world. Banned in America, Two Virgins was their statement about openness, but the world found their frankness hard to bear. When Yoko miscarried their child, the pair found some solace in releasing a record of the fetus's last heartbeats. If Yoko had freed John to experiment, he encouraged her to branch out with rock and roll. Her early songs were mostly improvised. Over the years, she has continued to experiment, inspired by kabuki music and freeform jazz. Her ragged vocals haven't always been pretty. But critics now say she opened doors for today's experimental new wave vocalists, like England's Lena Lovitch.
there's now a whole school of new wave rock vocalists who tell everybody how much they owe to those records of Yoko's. There's a more general influence, of course, which is as an experimenter, as an artist, and I think being a woman is particularly important here, because here was a woman who wasn't afraid to go where nobody, male or female, had gone before. She really wasn't afraid to do anything. If the piece involved screaming for hours, if it involved taking off all her clothes, whatever, she was willing to try it if there seemed to be a good artistic reason for it.
Lennon recorded Yoko for Apple Records and endorsed her publicly. Privately, it was a different matter. Nothing in John Lennon's background had prepared him for a relationship of equals.
Because I'm, quotes, John Lennon, and also can be a problem to live with. Well, so can she, because we're both artists. But she tended to write when I was asleep, you know, or when I wasn't there, although I was sort of, you know, understanding and, yes, I'm with you all the way, but it turned out just don't do it when I'm around. You know, I'm the writer, although I never expressed it in words. So she found herself, like a lot of women, which is doing things on the side, you know. And things like Winter Song, which I particularly like, was written at dawn because the pig was asleep, and probably that was the only chance she got to do it.
I know you know, for 1,000 years, your body still feels nice and warm to me.
The fact that I'm portrayed as a very strong woman, yes, I have a strong nature too, but he almost encouraged that. For instance, when I go to a representative meeting, or say if I am with him but talking to other people and these people are sort of being patronizing or in a very subtle way insulting me or something, most husbands will probably say, well, it's good that you were silent and, you know, didn't fight back. He was the kind of person who said, well, why don't you fight back? I mean, yes, it's good that you fought back.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be, let it be.
The Beatles first really became aware of Yoko at the Apple recording studios, where it became apparent that she and John had become absolutes in each other's lives. The romance was touching, but the Beatles were hardly enthralled. Girlfriends belonged in the playback booth, but there was Yoko insisting on space for her work right in their sacred arena. Lennon treated Yoko as if she were his partner, jamming with her between takes during the filming of Let It Be. At first, the rest of the band joined in for the Lennon's avant-garde musical experiments, though they found the music harsh and unmelodic.